Welcome back to Between Two Cars. My name's Kyle Orr, and we are here with special guests and the Walrus, Matt Maxwell.
Hey, you're not supposed to laugh that early, man. What's going on? The Walrus. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Welcome, Casey.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Fantastic.
This
Great.
guy sat next to me. He happens to be the winner of the Taylor Swift tickets that we gave away at Nexus Sucker Days. So
True Swiftie he is.
Oh my
brought-
gosh. How do you guys do that stuff?
It's Connections.
Dude,
It's called Connections. We just, didn't you have a song called Connections? Something like that?
I don't know. I'm not a big Swiftie. I'm more
What?
like a metalhead, but my daughter couldn't go, so my son and one of his buddies went. Had a
Yeah.
blast.
Did they?
Yeah, they were like, we love the auto parlor. Like,
Yeah. We get that a lot. We love the auto parlor. No, it just, we got through our, some connections to the radio station. They said, hey, you know, you guys are doing, you know, some great things out there in the community. We guys like some Taylor Swift tickets. And I said, yeah.
actually, we got it from. We didn't really want to get on this radio station for the longest time because we didn't budget that into the auto parlors. Basically, our advertising budget, what we were doing. Then we figured out that this radio station, the guy showed up. He was persistent, right? He's a super, super nice guy. He'd bring bobbleheads in every day for Maxwell. And, yeah.
I like bobbleheads.
Yeah.
They're Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals bobbleheads. We got a Royals fan over here, so that's why he's not saying what they are. But it's an Albert Pujols one, which is, you know, you watch baseball, right?
oh, yeah.
Yeah, are you Cardinal Royal fan?
Oh, yeah. We just went to the Springfield Cardinals.
Yeah,
Not the
see.
same, but
I know. But
You
it's-
notice how he said, oh, yeah, because he doesn't want to say he's not a Royals fan. Even
well,
though,
we're both fans of the Royals and the Cardinals.
yeah.
But the Royals are not not in Missouri, are they?
They are now, Toto. They are right now.
They're in Jackson
They're-
County, baby.
They've also only lost 19 games
That's
all year.
correct.
Which makes them the MLB leading team.
That's
So-
correct. But anyway, you know, of course, with 11 rings, I mean, what can you
Oh,
say
yeah.
you know, about the St. Louis Cardinals? But anyway, so yeah, I don't know how we got on the St. Louis Cardinals, but
John would bring these in.
yeah, bobbleheads.
But he'd be a great guy to get connected with you. He's just like you. He knows everybody or knows somebody that does whatever you need. I mean, hey, my ceiling's leaking. Hey, here, I got a guy type guy. Just a real down-to-earth guy. You may actually probably already know him, but at some point I'll introduce you to
oh,
a
I should meet
connection.
him. But no, I love networking with people. I tell a lot of my clients, you know, I'm talking to them maybe about their financial strategies, and I'll say, hey, you ever need a plumber, need a roofer, need to buy a car, whatever. I said, I know people. I'm like that guy in prison at Shawshank that can get you a cheeseburger from McDonald's. But-
Speaking of food, I am not hungry. Nope. We're not going to talk about it. It's only
It is after 11.
20. Yeah,
so
I know. I'm starting to feel it, really.
we're good. We're good. We can.
I'm looking, just so you guys know, I'm looking for an article and we'll share here in a minute. But so, Casey, why don't you tell us about what you do, what you're about, and kind of what you
Absolutely.
provide, your services you provide, and
Yeah, as far before
go from
that
there.
though, as far as like the doing those tickets again, could you do maybe like, you know,
we're getting some Rolling Stones.
I was thinking more like maybe Metallica, but
I'll get you Metallica.
Okay.
How about some Led Zeppelin?
perfect.
We'll go see some Led
Yeah.
Zeppelin.
Be really hard
You
to
left-
see Led Zeppelin though.
They can still playing. It's a tribute, man.
No, you got to do Zofo or whatever it is. Their tribute band, which is actually pretty good. I saw them in Columbia,
Yeah.
Missouri.
But,
I like
but
all
we're,
genres.
how about the Stones coming to the Ozarks?
I know,
That's a
it's exciting.
massive deal. We're going to be the headliner of our podcast. Is what we're trying to go for that. I don't know if it's going to win or not. I don't know if Johnny will let us do that.
Got my vote.
Huh? I think it's
Yeah.
all we need. Is wait
Yeah.
a minute. You just told me about the cheeseburger deal, right?
Yeah,
Get this handled.
got you.
Yeah, we need a
Yeah.
guy for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
but
your
all
man.
seriousness, we're trying to score some good seats or something. Maybe we'll come out with a contest if we can.
I told Kelsey about the Stones because I'm like I'm more of a Jagger fan. Like when he was back, they produced a blues album that hardly anybody really ever listens to, but I absolutely loved it.
You kind of move
And-
like Jagger.
And
That's good.
you know
I got you.
and then the song "Time," was one of my favorite ones by the Rolling Stones. So Kelsey knows, like, if they're going to be here, I'm going to go. Even though they're probably old men and out of breath right now, I'm still going to see the Stones just to say I saw it. She's like, you can go by yourself. I said, oh, no. Remember that. Who am I going to see? That Morgan Wallen concert that I'm taking you to this weekend?
You got a little leverage.
Oh, yeah. Because she knows I just absolutely despise that type of country music. The rap country, the people that don't identify with what they want to be. So,
Well, she likes my wife, Jen. She don't like me, but let's tell her we'll double date, and then maybe she'll go.
What about me?
Yeah.
Or triple date. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I like Carrie.
Huh?
I think she likes me okay.
Just who?
Did you say it was a triple date because of the size?
Yeah, it's like a triple cheeseburger.
So, but no, hey, just for people watching though,
Yeah.
Casey kind of goes back with us a long way. As you know, a customer. He knew Maxwell before he knew me.
40 years ago.
I just happened to.
No high school stories, buddy. Not
No,
today.
I
That's
understand.
right. I just happen to trust Casey a little bit more than Maxwell does, so he does all my financial portfolio for me.
Yeah, I've got accounts with them.
I'm lucky to have him
What's
on.
going on?
But it's okay. And so we invited him out here, one, because he's actually the only guy that's ever been able to get my wife to realize that investing is a good thing. And you're not throwing your money away, but I think he'll bring some, like anybody that's interested in doing that, like, I know it sounds funny, but there's a lot of people that aren't, they'd rather rack up a credit card than rack up a savings plan. So,
Yeah. Been there, done that.
yeah. But I think there's a lot of good stuff that he can do, and the way he explains it, and the demeanor, and his team, and his wife, Jen, wonderful lady. She's a part of that whole outfit. So she's actually the brains behind it. So,
Yep, the brains and the beauty. I don't know
Yeah.
really what I do, but
yeah. You do what we did and bat out of our league.
yeah. Oh, I married up. Yeah.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah. I love what I do. I get to teach people about money every day. I don't come from a background in that. Well, you know.
We're not talking about high school.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I graduated at MSU with a theater degree.
Yeah.
So I got a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Theater Performance, and I was bartending. So that's perfect
For
for
financial,
financial services
100%.
and helping people with their financial
100%.
future.
You went down the right path right there.
I just bumped into the right guy at the right time. I was
Yeah.
out on the East Coast with a buddy of mine. You know Steve Doherty.
Yeah.
And met a guy. He took me under his wing, which wasn't hard because I'm pretty short. I fit under most people's wing.
That's right.
And just taught me the ropes. And I started helping families, and I was helping 3 or 4 families a month, making more income than I was bartending 60 hours. And people were thanking me for actually improving what they were doing and undoing maybe what had been done to them. And no one was thanking me at the bar.
Right.
They just wanted a free drink.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for the beer, buddy.
Yeah. So I made a career change, and
Right.
that was back in '94, so it was a minute ago. Started when I was 9. Yeah. But as you said, Jen's in the business too, so we believe a lot in partnership. And
Well, it gives you a lot of family time, doesn't it?
oh yeah. Well, I know you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, being in business for yourselves, being your own boss, you know, freedom is everything. And our kids have never seen us work for someone else.
Right.
You know, we do represent a big conglomerate, Primerica, and we have a lot of sister companies, but we call our own shots. You know, they don't
Right.
have us around
Right.
quotas or anything we got to hit. So I don't have to pressure a client into the wrong type of, you know, program. We can give them what they need and not be pressured to have quotas. But our kids have never seen us work for somebody else. So the interesting story. I thought of this actually on the way here. My son was probably around 8, Cameron, and he came to me one day and goes, "Dad, what's it mean when my friends' parents say they have to ask off?" I said, well, it means they're scheduled hours, they have a job. He goes, "Oh, they have a boss, and we don't have a boss." I go, "Well, you have a boss. It's called Mommy."
Yeah. Right.
But it was kind of cool because at like 8, he kind of got it,
Right.
you know, and so,
It's kind of cool that he recognized
yeah.
that.
So,
that
yeah,
deal,
having the freedom and having the free time and being able to do that type of stuff. So whenever I need off work, I just go, "Self, yeah, can I have off?" "Okay." And It's a
Right.
quick conversation,
Right.
no paperwork.
Right. That's great.
We're learning to do that too, and Maxwell and I don't know that we take full advantage of the
Well, we're
freedom that we have just because we've been locked in that corporate world for so long. But we're making sure that we're doing things different than we did before. Spending a lot more time at home for sure. That's a key thing for us. It's even in our business plan to do that. Spend a lot more time golfing. Getting to actually go out and
meet people through golf.
Meet people
We
through
do
golf.
that. We do that quite a bit, don't we?
So-
We hit houses that come out. They say, "How you doing?" I'm like, "Can I have my ball, please, sir?" They say, "Get off my property."
And you say, "Here's my card."
I said, "Here's my card, Kyle or
Or Brad.
Yeah.
yeah." No, it's been great. I mean, we're starting a new business. Probably, in the beginning, you were still bartending, and you were
Yeah.
right. So you're doing both, right? So
Yeah.
and
I was
as-
part-time for a few
as
years.
as it grows, then you got the freedom. But there's sometimes when you're working at 9 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night
Sure.
because
Well-
you have to be available for the person.
So how long did it take you before you're like fully? I mean, we're all entrepreneurs, right?
Right.
So how long did you have to go in the financial sector before you could just step out and say, "Hey, I'm giving 110% to this, and this is all I'm doing"?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you asked. And you read a lot of leadership books and all that, and it's all about just making a decision.
Right.
It's like when you guys it was just, okay, let's do it. Let's make a decision. So I was in the business part-time, still bartending, just jacking around, early 20s, whatever, and for about 4.5 years. And I still was part-time, making extra $1,500, $2,000 a month, helping one or two families. And this guy that started at the same office I started in, his name's Tommy Lee, not the actor, okay?
Or the drummer?
No, not the drummer. He started when I did, like a month before I did, and about 4.5 years in, his income was about $150,000 a year, and I'm making an extra part-time, $1,500, $2,000 a month part-time, and I'm like,
Wow.
and Tommy's a great guy. I love
Sure.
the guy, and I'm like, but he ain't better than me.
Right.
And so that's when I made a decision just to suspend some relationships and eliminate some of the distractions. And,
Right.
And from there, I was full-time within 4 months and became a vice president. And
Now, did you meet
all that.
your wife through Primerica? Or did
no,
you-
I knew her before. My first bartending job was Red Lobster, and so she was a hostess. So we kind of got to know
Did
each
you
other.
hear they're
through
going
that.
bankrupt? By the way.
Yeah, yeah.
What in the world?
Because I left.
I
Yeah.
think they already went bankrupt.
Well, they
I
did,
gave
but-
away too many free drinks.
Yeah. Hey, you guys want a lobster? How do you get those
Take
things?
two.
Yeah. Hold on.
But yeah, I know I met her through that. We just became really close friends.
Yeah.
and-
You guys are like, you can tell you're very, very close just to how
Yeah.
you guys interact with each other. You're fun to be around.
Yeah.
It's,
we were best friends for a while, and then
Yeah.
she just couldn't keep her hands off me. But she has
Yeah.
a different story. But
Right.
she's not on the podcast. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
Well,
get
yeah.
her, we're
this
going to
is-
get on here another time.
Yeah.
We're not talking about her anyways. We're talking about you, right? You know,
Right.
so yeah.
Right.
And I believe that she couldn't keep her hands off.
I
him,
believe that too.
so.
I wish she was all over you.
Oh yeah, like a bobblehead. Just
Yeah, like a bobblehead.
out of her mind.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. I had a different story. My wife wrecked my car, which that's a different story too, where she's not on here either. Right?
Yeah.
That's how that was our first date.
We can edit this part out, right? Don't
No,
want her
it's all
seeing
live.
this. Oh, okay. All right.
It's all right.
My
It's all right.
I met
But she's
my
like-
wife
I
on
noticed that
MySpace.
she
so-
watches our shows like repeatedly. We track all that.
Yeah.
She's our number one fan.
Who?
Sure, I've
His
seen her
Jen
on
is?
there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She likes a lot of the shorts.
Yeah.
I know.
I've walked by and I'll hear, what are you doing? What are you giggling? He's watching you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
funny.
Maxwell hit another house with a golf ball.
They got. Are the kids watching it?
Well, they're at the lake. No.
No, I mean, do they watch?
Oh,
the
yeah,
podcast
they've seen a
stuff?
couple of them.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, this isn't live right
yeah.
now, just so
yeah,
you know.
no, I know.
No, no.
Yeah, it's like, I didn't think it was, but that's okay. All right, let me watch.
We'll get to that point in the future.
It's like I got a
Live.
pretty good filter, so I think I've done good so far.
So with your business, so let me ask you this, because I think one of the things so when I was your age, right, we were all 20 years old, no one taught me about money at that age. I mean, I think that's still probably the same today. Would you not agree with that? Or
Yeah, when I got in the business, I think my dad was in his late 40s, maybe 50, somewhere in there. And I showed my parents the business. And he was like, I taught you how to hunt, how to fish, how to golf, but nobody ever taught me about money. And
Yeah,
here he
they
was
don't.
like 50 years old.
Right.
And it showed them all the mistakes that they were making that most people make. And so he always says he kind of had to kind of eat some humble pie and put his pride in his back pocket because he's like, my son's teaching me about money.
Yeah, they don't even
Well,
have classes. I mean, there's nothing. You get nothing. It's
Right.
just like you're.
We're talking about.
Yeah.
So I've kind of kept this to myself, but for people that don't know our relationship as far as Casey is that we have a lot of attributes as far as like reading books. We believe in self-development, that type of thing. He does it on the side. I know because we talk about it. I also know because he recommends books to me. Sent a few over. But one book that I recommend to everybody that we haven't really talked about on the podcast because we were waiting for somebody in your position to talk about is a book called Breaking from Broke. Have you heard of that one?
I haven't read that.
Okay. Breaking from Broke is
one of the best books out there.
it's probably one of the best books out there.
Okay.
It's an excellent audio book. Okay. I would tell anybody that listens to it or read it, pay attention to every section except for the automotive section in that book. Okay. But it's great. I've given it to him. I think he gave it to his daughter.
My daughter, my wife. Like I said, there's stuff. I'm 51 years old. I'm sitting there going through it. Okay, no one's ever taught me this or that, or So that's why I'm our daughter's going to get involved with Casey pretty quick when she gets a job and stuff. We're going to set her
Financially involved.
Yeah, I was like, where are you going, dude? It's
Hey, listen, Jen's already
getting kind of
approved.
creepy.
His
Jen's
wife
already
I'm not
watches
getting
the
involved with his
podcast.
daughter.
He's going to help teach her how to manage. She's already pretty frugal, but she doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
She already got the saving part down. It's like I'm not spending any money on anything.
Like my wife does.
Yes.
So a savings account is actually one of the worst investments you can actually make right now.
What's the difference between saving and investing?
Right.
You guys have heard of the rule of 72?
Yes.
Yeah.
Compound interest and all that. People put their money in a bank and get 1-2%, maybe 3 or 4 now in CDs for a little bit.
Right.
But what do the banks do with our money? There's no bankers watching.
Yeah.
They don't take your money and put it in a drawer with a little Post-it note and a rubber band and say this is Kyle's money. Don't touch it. They go reinvest it.
Right.
They put it in mutual funds.
I was talking to somebody.
That's why they don't give you a lien release for 10 days in the car business. They don't want to pull the money. That money's invested somewhere else, right?
I was talking to someone the other day about this. I forgot who it was, and I said, they said, have you ever wrote a check for $100,000? I said, yeah, I wrote one for $100,000. And he's like, I was talking about how banks don't actually keep, cash in the bank, and that's a big thing going on right now in the world, right? With inflation, a lot of banks are starving for cash in the bank. And he said, well, I mean, you could just go there and get it. So, man, you go to a bank and pull out $100,000 and see how quick you get your money.
Right.
It won't be there. It'll be a day or two.
Well, first off,
before
they're
you-
going to question you like you wouldn't believe. What do you need the money for?
for your own money.
It's your own money.
Yeah.
Hell, I get
we-
questioned to
On
deposit
$5
checks.
grand. We pulled out $5,000 to buy a car. Right. We wanted cash. We're going to go buy the car. And the guy wanted cash. We pulled out $5,000 and we went through we're like, it's our money. Right. Well, what
We
are you
need to
buying it
test
for?
your DNA first.
Yeah, what are you buying it for? What do you use it for? Where's it going? Then she heard, we're only here to protect you. I said, well, both owners are right here. We know where the money's going. Right. We don't need to be.
We're about to drive it over to this guy, and I need you to hurry up and get it out of the counter if you could.
Well, you said 100,000. So I can't remember who it was. It was years ago, but I think it was a client's daughter. Going to go buy a card. She wanted to pay cash, and I don't remember where she banked. I think it was $13,000, $15,000. She had to go to 3 different locations of that bank
To get the 15?
to get the $15,000
That's crazy.
because they didn't have it on hand, or at least they said they didn't.
Just go to a casino. You'll get cash right there and there.
So
Fast,
just fast forward to people that don't know, a bank, I mean, there's rarely, especially if you're in a small town, rarely will they house that much cash
Yeah, it's not like
in
the
a bank.
Yeah, it's not like the
You know.
movies where they got them stacked in the vault back there, and you break in and steal it. That's not. That's
What
not realistic.
what they do is they invest it, and I may be wrong. I got the financial guru here, but most of the time a bank will put it in like a mutual fund, right?
What I have seen in the past is it seems like banks and insurance companies are some of the largest investors in mutual funds.
Right.
So really what I'm doing is just showing people how to bypass them.
A mutual fund's pretty much the safest investment you can make.
It fluctuates. I mean, it's going to go up and down because the mutual fund's comprised of a bunch of different stocks, but it's diversified.
Right.
You know, people ask me, can you lose all your money in a mutual fund? I'm like, well, I guess you could, but all those 150 stocks in that fund would have to go out of business the same day, nothing left to sell, and these professional managers didn't see it coming. It's probably more likely.
The 95 guys managing those accounts would probably have a pretty good heads up before it happens.
It's more likely that a rhinoceros could come into this and destroy you.
Right.
I'm backing up.
I'll take that thing and just wrestle it to the ground.
Yeah, and so I'm not slinging mud at banks and insurance companies, but they're in the business to make money.
Right.
And so they'll loan it back to us on credit cards and loans.
Which talk about that. Why is that a bad thing to have credit card debt and all that type stuff?
It's like anything. I mean, some things are good if they're used properly,
right?
In moderation,
right?
And but I'll use a lot of personal examples. So when I was 23, 24, right out of college, doing the bartending thing, and just kind of seen this business, I was sitting there looking at my credit card statement. I had 5 cards. And I wasn't crazy. I didn't go buy big expensive things or take big long trips, but I just was using them and didn't realize it. And it's easy how it can get out of control.
Right.
I didn't feel like I was abusing them.
Right.
And so it was getting hard to pay the minimum payments, And Jen and I, we were roommates at the time. And she comes, looks over
best friends.
Yeah, best friends. And she looks over my shoulder. She's like, "What is that?" I go, "That's our credit card debt." She goes, I won't tell you exactly what she said. She goes, "That's your credit card debt, Jack." It was like $28,000 of credit card debt at 24 by myself, leasing a new car, student loans, and it happened over a period of like 4 or 5 years.
That's what they want you to do. See, they want you to come out of college or go into college, because if you think about it, it's when you get your first credit card, right? You're 18 years old, and you're in college.
The old Capital One.
Yeah, here's a credit card for you. It's got $1,000 balance on it, and then you go to school, and then you're borrowing all the money for school. You're getting student loans, right? You're doing all that type of stuff, and then all of a sudden, as you're paying that credit card off, you start getting another one in the mail, and they're all short. But you get 5 or 6 of those things you add on that debt, and you're right. They're using it to go. It's convenience, right? Hey, I got to get some new clothes for school.
Yeah.
Well, I'll run up there and buy them, or I'll go to the restaurant and eat real quick, or stuff like that. It just gets out of control.
It's like a drug dealer. It's like,
100%.
"Hey, come here. It's your first one's free."
Well,
then you get hooked.
I'll just help the world, and you don't need books and stuff to know this, but why would anybody want to use a credit card? And the answer is to buy things they can't afford right now.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
I think about that every time. We've got credit cards here. I'm not especially in a small business, you have to. I mean, some people won't do business with you without a credit card, right? So, but when you go to put it on a card, you should think, do I have enough money in the bank right now that I could actually pay this card off, pay it off?
Well,
but that's where people make the mistake, right? And they don't teach that stuff in school.
Well, no, they want you to be in debt. That's like I said, they want you to be. The world wants you to be in debt, because if you're in debt, right, you're going to get more debt to keep going in debt. You follow what I'm saying? He said you couldn't make the minimum payments. Well, that's what happens. You get another card. Hey, if you flip this card and it's 0% for 90 days, you take this balance, you flip it to 0%.
Right.
Everybody keeps this other credit card open, right? But then what happens in 30 days, 90 days? All that back interest gets charged back to the card because you didn't pay it off. They don't tell you that, right? It's in the fine print.
Well, yeah.
And then all of a sudden you just build up all this debt and you're trapped.
It's just this snowball effect.
Yeah, and it's just you got to learn. But see, it comes from being an emotional society.
Yeah.
We want. So think about how Amazon is gotten so popular, right? They give you something within 24 hours. You want to order, something, you'll have it quick, right? So
yeah, I got a bride in the mail the other day, but I had to send her back.
Right, wrong country, buddy.
Instant gratification.
It's 100%. It's just like if we can just be, calm with that.
I kind of wanted to tie that into Casey's deal, and it's kind of really a good stopping point to kind of tie what I was aiming at earlier. there are a lot of guys that I have in the car business. You know, they either jump out and get into trying to do some kind of insurance sales or investment, or they go to timeshare, right? It's just, that's where they live. And then when they're done with their career and they can't do anything else, they sell furniture. So the reason that they go out in your deal is, yes, they like meeting people and wanting to help people. You know, they start out with the motivation, and then they start to make a pretty decent income at it, right? But then they just expect that, hey, they're all of a sudden a financial advisor, right? That's I call it the corporate tag they put on them, right? And you know, a lot of them don't have $50 in the bank to do anything with, right?
They
and they're
passed
out
the test. They got a license. So
Yeah.
now they're all of a sudden.
and they're out there telling people who have money how to invest their money, right? And that was the fear that my wife had, is that we were just going to go in, and these guys that worked for me always were, hey, Kyle, you need to come invest with me and all this stuff. And I was thinking, why would I invest with you? You know what I mean? Nothing against them. And there's a few of them that are done great for themselves and stuck with it now.
Yeah.
You know? But at that time, there's no way in hell I would have ever invested with somebody like that. You've been doing this for 20...
Well, you count the part-time stuff, 30 years. So it's part-time for about 4 or 5 years. But yeah, 30 years as a...
Yeah, and he's only like 43.
Yeah.
So...
What is that, in like Elfish numbers or something?
So...
I got
Is
you.
that a short joke?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you did there.
Hey, you guys start off with the walrus stuff.
Hey, you keep the
You
Keeplers.
said the walrus.
Oh,
Hey,
that's
you
right,
keep
you're
the
right.
Keebler shit up. We'll come across there.
Yeah. Start biting my ankles.
I got connections with Bilbo.
I know.
So
You're right.
he's got some evil
I'm sorry.
toenails that will go right through that skin.
Who is it?
Bilbo,
Bilbo.
Baggins.
He hasn't
Hobbit.
watched any of those. He hasn't watched Star Wars. He hasn't watched
wrong
any
with
of
you?
the. I think you did watch Harry Potter, didn't you? He hasn't watched any of the stuff we're talking about. Nothing.
You just at least used to watch Dukes of Hazzard?
I did do that.
Okay, well,
I watched Daisy a lot.
Yeah, Daisy. Daisy.
You nice to get
I
you a
thought he was
General
more like
Lee
a
out
boss
here.
hog type guy.
We ought to get you a big
Big
white
old white hat
Yeah,
and a white suit.
but
Yeah, that's all right. I'm losing weight. I've been working out every day,
yeah,
so it's coming.
It's good.
It's coming.
I'm proud of him of that.
So what would you recommend some kids or anybody right now? Anybody can fix their situation right now. We keep talking about these kids coming out. So there's not a bad situation. It might take a little bit longer. It may take some work, but how do they need to get a hold of you if they want to, ask for some help, or what they need to do?
1-900. 417-496-9933, or you can just look up Casey Coring, Primerica.
Okay, I want that phone number posted, and then when we go viral for 1 million hits,
There you go.
why is your phone ringing at 3 a.m?
There's a little. You want to grab it? It's on that thing, the little booklet. You guys might put the QR code on there.
Okay.
It's not my QR code, but it's a little booklet that I give to
Do
clients.
you have classes and stuff that you have that you
I do.
sponsor?
Thanks, brother. But it's got like a little QR code on the back.
Okay.
And like it's a pretty thin book, How Money Works. It's pictures, colors, real short words, big print, be good for you.
Yeah.
But I like the QR code because I don't like to read.
Right.
And so it goes right to little 2.5-minute videos of all the concepts.
Okay.
That are in there. But yeah, you guys can post my.
Wait a minute, you're in
contact
theater and you don't like
information.
to read. You have to memorize lines
Yeah.
and stuff. What is that about?
Well, that's when he said that book earlier. I'm like, oh, it's on Audible. Thank you.
Yeah,
Well, that's good.
we're both. I mean, well, all three of us, I can contest that we're better Audible people than we are
Yeah.
paperback.
My
But
ADD
we
kicks-
actually switch. Maxwell and I kind of switch back and forth with. There's certain ones that are good to read, but that Breaking from Broke, you should download it and listen to it today.
I will. I got a 45-minute drive, so
Yeah,
I'll listen
yeah.
to it. You were saying that you didn't really say this, but you talked about whether they're young people or whether they're 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. It doesn't really matter their age, whether they're 18 or 80. I meet with them.
Right.
Even if I get somebody investing $50 a month in a Roth IRA it's
It helps.
it's habitual.
Right.
It's over and over. So one of the things I'll do is I don't know if I've talked to you guys about this technology called $B Smart, but it's amazing. It's an app. It's a link I send them. They do a little questionnaire in less than 5 minutes. It shows them a handful of alerts. They're financial talking points. It shows them different ways they can improve their finances. And so that's my guide. So I said, whether 18 or 50 or 80, I can go through it and we'll figure out which
Blind,
ones
crippled,
are.
or crazy?
So what?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were doing the 18 to 80 blind, crippled, or crazy.
But some of the areas they're interested in, some of them they aren't. But I'll go through and I'll go through each of them and see what's important. And if they say, I'll say, what's one of your alerts, Kyle? And he says no Roth IRA. Well, here's why that came up. And if it's important to teach them, well, what is a Roth IRA? What is a mutual fund? Or how do they work? And that's where a lot of people fail, is they don't get educated. And then they find out how simple this stuff is. And they're like, well, gosh, I should have been doing that before.
Right.
Well, if you think about it, you talked about your parents, right?
Yeah.
Our parents were, my dad's 88 years old, so he was born in 36. So in the 40s and 50s, they just came back. They just came out of the Depression right before that, right? And so they didn't put money in the bank, right? They kind of saved. Now they did later in life, but back then they were taught what?
Bury it in the backyard.
Yeah, hold on to it, because they came from a time where where you saved, where you didn't have a whole lot because of what happened, right? So it's kind of interesting how, and then they didn't really pass that on to the next generation. And so you're really only getting educated on finances if you know somebody.
Well, the boomers,
yeah.
the boomers did a heck of a lot of a really. I probably shouldn't say this because I'm around a lot of boomers, but in my opinion, in the financial section, the boomers did exactly what you're talking about, because that was when the guys finally were, college educated. You had to go to college, right?
Yeah.
You got to go do this. You got to do this. And then everybody was fighting to be the executive at the top, right? And I mean, it was a great time, like for guys like me. I'm not a boomer, but to be raised by a boomer or somebody in that situation, because you were getting a new bicycle, you were getting all that stuff, right? And those people worked very, 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 very hard to get that way, and so they wanted the, $500,000 house and all that stuff, and they made society, like, that's how you made your way through society, was doing that kind of stuff, and nobody knew who was in debt and who wasn't, right?
No, that's when credit card debt started exploding.
What's doing it
Oh,
now?
yeah.
But it'll do it again.
Well, yeah,
Any
now.
credit card debt's doing it again.
Oh, yeah.
from
Well,
out of
anytime
COVID?
you got that kind of inflation,
Right. Right.
With my parents, I said I do that, be smart and educate them. The education's the biggest piece.
Right.
It's not all the services that we do. And that's where I see people get taken advantage of. And I've seen advisors, investments, insurance agents, life insurance, where I'll look and see what someone has. I'm like, do you know how this works? And it was basically a trust me sign here. There
Yeah.
was zero education, because if they knew how it worked, they wouldn't have done it. And that was part of what happened to my parents in the beginning. I looked at their life insurance was one of them. And I showed him how it worked. I said, you could have done this versus this. And he went and questioned the agent that he'd had for 30 years, good golfing buddy. And
yeah.
he says, well, could I have done this and been better off versus, could I have done term insurance, lower cost, invested in mutual funds versus this that was high cost? And he goes, well, yeah. He goes, well, why didn't you do that? He goes,
Doesn't pay me
because
high
this
enough
is more
commission.
profitable. It paid me more. He goes, what about morals and ethics and friendship? He goes, come on, it's just business. You understand, Steve. I was like, golfing buddy. It's good he didn't have a 9-iron in his hand, but
Right.
and I'm not, like I said, once again, I'm not slinging mud, but that's where I see people make the mistakes. They're just not
Well,
educated.
Do you guys provide like long-term or health or long-term care? It's like my dad's got that.
As far as like long-term care, I have someone to refer them to. Like
Okay.
I said, I've got that network of people.
Well, that's the
that
other
know.
thing. We're kind of bouncing around a little bit
Yeah.
because I've learned a lot just with my father's, going through my father's stuff. Here he is. He just got that probably 15 years ago, right? He's 88. He just invested. He just decided to buy it, but he's only got a certain amount, right? So he's 88. He's in a assisted living, and it's $6,100 a month for him to be where he's at. Now, that insurance policy is paying for it, but the insurance policy is only set for a certain amount of money.
Yep.
And once that money runs out, guess where he's at? He's either we're paying for it, or he's moving to a place that's probably not as nice as where he's at. People don't know that stuff. They don't.
And they drain their investments in less than 5 years.
Yeah.
That's when you get. So Casey and I have been in a BNI group, Business Network International. I mean, there's I don't know how many chapters across the nation in the U.S. He's actually the one that got me into it. Business Power Network in Springfield's the one that he's in. And there are a lot of good people there. I've been around a lot of BNI groups. And if I didn't do what I was doing with the next chamber, which you need to come to one time, that BNI group's bar, and I'm not saying that because he's sitting to the left of me. I mean, it is, the people in that group are just phenomenal. And one person I use, is people don't think about their parents dying or stuff like that. Or being set up or going in a nursing home, right? It never crossed your mind until the time was there.
Yeah.
Rachel Fortenberry
was going to mention her too.
Elder law, and I think what he would do is say, "Hey, talk to Rachel," and then Rachel would refer Casey back to you as far as doing some of the financial segment after you talk to her.
I refer people to her all the time to get a trust, or if they have elderly parents, to take care of the elder law stuff. She's amazing. But it's funny. I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, I guarantee he's going to say Rachel.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I'm bringing that up, because right now, and I wanted to bring this up and get you guys' opinion a little bit, talk about this a little bit different financial, but it ties to the why you have to plan for the future a little bit, because you never know.
Right.
Carrie and I have 2 children, and one of them's special needs with Colton, right? And until he turned 18 years old, right, pretty much everything's covered, insurance covers it, and then you have some other government programs covered and stuff like that. Once he's an adult, we have to go get permission from the courts to sign over his rights to us for us to take care of him, because he can't do that on his own, right? He can't. The state protects him. Well, they just came out with we're trying to get so he's staying home. He can't work. He's got a 4-year-old mentality, and we're trying to figure out, okay, hey, we got to get him active, more social, because he's starting to lose his speech, things like that, because he's not around people. Starting to lose how to communicate, because he mimics a lot. So we were going back to we have a social worker, and we're going back to the state of Missouri, and we're asking for a waiver to get some help from the state to bring somebody in to be kind of a little bit of a caretaker for him. Which, I mean, they charge $40 an hour for this type of deal, which we can, people can pay that out of pocket, but I mean, $40 an hour is a lot of money, right? I mean, that's a lot of money. So
$40 an hour if you had them there for 40 hours.
Yeah,
that's definitely a lot of money.
Right. So, well, they just came out with, and we're not planning this, right? So they just come out with a bill that they signed. It's not, no one's talking about, but they cut $80 million worth of tax revenue to go to special needs people in the state of Missouri. He lost all of his, they cut everything.
Wow.
So here we are. We don't know that, right? We're trying to get these coverages, and the social worker walks in, and she's nervous, because she thinks we're going to, you get people, they start crying, and they don't know what to do, because you got your kid. And your health insurance won't cover anything. Okay, it won't cover this type of stuff. And she had to tell us, like, hey, you know what? They cut it to fund,
the war
over in Ukraine. I mean, because each state has to come out with how they're gonna fund this.
Right.
Well, that's what they cut. Well, they won't. I mean, first off, that affects us personally. But I was sitting there thinking, all these people, because we were.
I'm gonna refer back real quick before you hold that thought.
Yeah.
And just for people who don't know, I'll say this again: there is no bank in the United States of America that's holding on to $80 billion or $80 million.
No.
It's just sitting there. There's only 2 ways this happens, right? They're either borrowing and going into debt, or they start printing more money.
Right. Right. So, think about how much that affects people that don't have the means to be able to take care of that. Mm-hmm. And now you've just created a scenario to where you're going to have probably more homeless people, adults.
So could he have gotten some kind of coverage a long time ago for Colton that would have taken care of that with a disability?
Well, you could have invested.
Yeah.
You could have invested and say, okay, hey, when he found out that that's what my point was, you never know what's going to happen in the future, right? Now we knew that Colton was around 6 years old, that he had cerebral palsy and he was autistic, but we didn't know the severity of it. You don't, because your brain still develops, until you're
23 years old.
Yeah, so you don't know.
You better
right?
sell some more freaking cars, man.
100%, man.
$40 an hour.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So right now we're kind of going. It changes your whole lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because now we're like, Karen and I are going, okay. I mean, he's going to be with us the rest of his life. So not only do I, as a entrepreneur, I mean, we still have things like that come up that you need to save money and prepare for, because you never know.
Right.
And that's why it's important when you're young. Had I been talked to about that, hey, I probably would have invested money differently to say, okay, hey, honey, this is an emergency fund for Colton. But you never know. I mean, that's a tough deal. But it's what I'm trying to say is it's important for, like, young Brecken over here. He's 21 years old. These kids need to get involved with, like you.
We've
guys
actually
like
talked
you,
to Brecken quite a
in
bit
an
about
early age, and say, hey, and you could use me as an example when you're talking to these kids, because they get the American dream. Hey, you know what? We're gonna get married, have kids, life's grand. You never know what's going to happen in the future and stuff like that. And they need to, people need to be prepared.
Brecken, what's your routing account number? I'll hook you up.
yeah.
Hey, can I piggyback on that with
Yeah.
with the kids? I tell stories a lot, but it's a good example. I think a lot of people, I meet with them, and they kind of get a little upset, and they're kind of like, woe is me, I'm 40, I'm 50, I didn't do what I need to do, no one showed me this. It's like, yeah, but you got kids. So let's fix it for them.
Sure.
So a good example is, like I said, our kids have grown up in the business, so we've taught them the stuff in this book and compound interest and what mutual funds are. And it's kind of cool, because every so often, like birthdays and Christmas, our kids will come to us and go, hey, I got this much. Can you put this much in my mutual fund? This is because we taught them early. I'm not trying to say, oh, my kids are great. They are. But one thing
They are pretty cool kids.
we start investing, sums of money for them, nothing crazy, but when they were born. But my son was 15. He's 17 now. And then my daughter's, 2 years younger. We started doing minor Roth IRAs for him.
Right.
Because you can do that, and it all goes tax deferred. It's all be tax free down the road, if you do it right. And so I figured it out. This is how powerful how we can change our kids' lives or grandkids' lives, is teach them this stuff. I said, okay, for the next few years, we'll fully fund your Roth IRAs. At that time, it was $6,000 a year, and every few years it goes up the more you can put in. But I just ran a hypothetical of a real mutual fund. I went back like 40 years. So 40 years when he's 15, that put him at what, 55? And I think I did it 40 years. And if he takes over it eventually, once he gets an income coming in, and Savannah does the same thing, if they did that for 40 years, when he's 55, if that fund did exactly what it did in the last 40 years, the next 40 years, of course, can't promise that.
Right.
Any guesses on what he would have?
Couple million.
Couple.
Yeah.
$18.5 million is what he would have had in that fund. And my daughter's younger.
So he's retired.
So she continues it out another 5 years, 4 years. She could have like $22 million.
Yeah.
But it's people don't realize how powerful that stuff is. But
Right.
anyway.
Well, but here's the other thing, and because you got the kids, you got guys that are 30.
So
that
he
can still
told me
do
that
it.
story. So I got Willow life insurance, and I started investing in a mutual fund 15 days after she was born, because that's the legal time, right?
Oh, yeah, with Adner as a writer on the coverage.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
the mutual fund, I mean, she's going to be a happy camper.
Right.
Right. She's going to love Daddy. I don't know if Mommy was responsible for any of that. But
No, I'll take full credit. Kelsey's not on the show, so.
but she's going to watch it.
No, she is going to watch it. But, yeah, well, you know how my wife is, right? Very, very frugal with money, unless it's something she wants, right? But she was never taught, and she kind of her and I came from two different worlds, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I wouldn't say that we would name her situation rich or nothing, but it was definitely a lot different than my environment that I grew up in. And her deal was, when we were talking about that, I was telling her the dollar figure a month that I would put in for Willow's deal and adding the life insurance on. And she was like, oh, I don't think you need to do that much, right? I said, well, let me ask you this. How much money you spend each day at Starbucks? it's got to be 7 to 10. It's never below 5. I can tell you that.
I think it's like a $10 cover charge now just to get in
To
Starbucks.
Starbucks, yeah, yeah. So I gave her that figure a month, and I said, "Well, see, you spend more money on coffee than you do investing in your own daughter." And she's like, "You're right." And so she doubled the amount, right? And that's
Her,
how we came
it's
up to
good.
that.
She's a smart kid.
Yeah,
I mean, Willow, but also
yeah.
yeah,
Kelsey.
Yeah.
Kelsey's an adult, but she's the size of a kid.
Wow. I'm not even gonna. That better be a short reel.
Yeah, you're gonna be the doghouse, man. I love you, Kelsey.
Yeah, that's 100%. We are not responsible for Kyle's.
But when we talked
opinion.
we're talking to Breck, and I think it was actually yesterday when we were riding around from the auction or whatever, but we were talking about the different life insurance policies, right?
Right.
And he was kind of inquisitive about it. I said, "Well, I do term life insurance, and here's the reason why and stuff." And people don't understand that life insurance is not just life insurance; it's an investment, right? There's a face value over time, things. But and you're more advanced on this thing than I am, and so he was asking the difference between the coverages and why you don't want one.
So let's have a conversation. So, why do you have auto insurance?
Protect your car.
For your car. Why do you have home insurance, homeowners insurance, replace your house? Why do you have life insurance to replace your income? That's really the biggest thing. I mean, that's our biggest asset is our income. And unfortunately, it's not a bad thing. People get just enough for burial, just enough for debts. But if you think about it, you got two couples, or a couple, two people, each making $50,000 a year. So they're making $100,000 a year.
Right.
And they got a couple kids. If one of them pass away, they go from 100 down to 50. How do they
live.
function financially? No.
Right.
And so that's why we do term insurance, because they can get high coverage at low cost and take the difference and invest in a real investment like a mutual fund. But the goal over time is to get self-insured. So if you think about it with your investments, Brecken, right? 30 years from now, you got $1 million, $2 million, whatever in your investments. Why do you still need $500,000 of life insurance when your mortgage is paid down, your kids are grown and all that, you're self-insured? So life insurance, in our opinion, most of the experts, Dave Ramsey, people like that, it should be a temporary thing until you get self-insured.
And I keep referring back to this book because it's, based on all what you're saying, but it's the guy that wrote it, Kimball is his last name. He worked for Dave Ramsey, or still does work for Dave Ramsey, which I know Primerica kind of.
Yeah, Dave worked with us for a period, and then he went on to do the radio thing.
Right, and it's just good advice for anybody. But they talk about the credit score thing, which I think is just phenomenal. How he beats it up, because people are always, there's this persona across, at least in the United States, at least next to Missouri and the surrounding areas, okay, and the people that I've associated with, that you're financially better when you have a higher credit score.
Right.
And in that book, they talk about, well, no, that just means you use credit back. You use credit more, right? And you responsibly pay it back, and that's how you get a higher score. And they're actually, that book is advising people to do what, Matt? Have a zero credit score,
have
right?
Zero. That way,
Right.
he's like, you're self-insured. That's what he's telling you.
Right.
He say be self-insured in life. That's the same thing. It's just saying, hey, if you're self-insured, what do you need to have debt for? Really. You know what I'm saying? So that's what he's saying. So
And he goes on to tell how you can do it and
right,
things.
just be smarter and stuff. And we were laughing earlier because talking about cars. It actually plays into the auto part pretty well too, because he's saying he'll tell you, hey, instead of going out there buying the $80,000 high tech car and having a loan or a lease out there, buy a 2 or 3, 4-year-old one with a little bit higher mileage that you can write a check for. Which is what we stock here. So if you ever want to do that, come see the auto parlor. But that's what he's saying. It just be smarter with your money instead of being emotional.
Right.
Be more logical with what you're doing. But going back to the credit score, it's funny how everybody judges people on their credit score. I mean, you can have a 680 and have $400,000 in debt.
Right.
Okay, is that a good thing? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, but I'm a 680. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm a 700. You know, whatever. But I think it comes down to, you know, it's just getting involved with somebody like Casey. You know, preferably somebody you know and trust early. Teaching the kids is phenomenal. I think that's great. That's why I'm gonna get my daughter to talk to you, and she's at that perfect age, right? She's coming out of college.
I was
got her
glad you're
master's.
saying talking
I
instead of
understand.
like hooking up.
I changed the wording.
Yeah.
I changed the wording. Okay, I know Casey. I know what he's done in high school. We're not talking about
Whatever.
it.
Yeah.
But anyway, get involved where she can make some better decisions than what her mother and father have done, and learn from that stuff, and then sit there and say, okay, hey, here you go, and I think that's important. I mean, that's a great thing. So I'm excited to watch her grow with you.
You know, we've talked about people misusing credit cards, which I gave you my example, and I
Sure.
did. But a lot of people are like, okay, that's great, but I've already done it. I'm in this situation.
Right.
What do I do now?
Start digging.
Yeah, start digging. So you did mention Dave Ramsey. So some people have heard of the
Snowball.
debt stacking or snowballing effect. So
Right.
we have a program, and I run it for free for people. It's just a complimentary thing that I do.
Right.
And we'll get their debt information, put it in a program. It'll show them exactly which debt to pay off first. And when that's paid off, take that payment, put it to the next
Right.
one. It's a great concept. A lot of concepts don't work, but when it's on paper, they can physically see it and follow it. I've had clients, one client put it on the refrigerator. I got so excited because it shows them when each debt's going to be paid off, how much interest they're going to save, and they have a debt freedom date.
Well, here's what's
You know?
crazy. You can go from what
That's cool.
People don't understand the credit system. It's based off your credit card usage. You could have loans out there, and it doesn't affect your score as high as much as your credit card usage does. Your unsecured debt, right? You can have a loan that's unsecured, but it's a 5-year fixed interest, loan versus you have a $6,000 credit card with 20%. Credit card, you've maxed out that charge. That affects you more than the loan does. You know what I'm saying? It affects your score more. So you can be a 580 with $100,000 in credit card debt. And you get that paid off, and you're an 800.
Right.
There's a friend. Well, he knows Casey Cooper. He's a mortgage guy. He's in my networking group too, and he's taught me a lot about credit scores because he's always obviously trying to get people to qualify for mortgages and
Sure.
such, and just keeping under a certain amount of the available credit.
Right.
And I don't remember
Yeah.
the magic
30%.
number.
30%.
If you're watching, Casey, don't test me on this, but
30%
is it
less.
30? Is that what it
30%
is?
less,
Well, you
yeah.
guys know because you run people's credit.
Yeah, yeah.
But how little things like that, just little pieces, it's all back to the education.
Well,
if people just know.
Carrie and I have made a big deal. When you go from, and here's the other thing.
That's
is
why that
we've-
little $1,000 Capital One college
card.
credit card sucks for people because here's the first thing you're gonna do. You get that $1,000 and you're gonna spend 500 of the 1,000 because you've got it, or at least you'll be
And you're
like
50%,
90%.
right.
So now you're 50%. Well, your credit that you just thought you were building just went, right?
Say that again.
Do that. It sounded cool.
I mean,
through
that
the
kind of sounded like a
headphones.
whistle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Is that good?
But yeah, that's and I think Casey, and he probably knows more. On the home loan side, on the auto loan, it's 30% or
Right.
what we look at to make decisions. So
It's crazy. A lot of knowledge right there, isn't there?
Knowledge. People say knowledge is power. I don't believe that at all. It's the implementation of the knowledge,
The discipline.
and that's the power.
Yeah.
And I stole that from somebody, but after I say it 3 times, it's mine. That's how it works. I don't know if
Right.
you guys.
yeah,
Right.
Well, I'm using. I've been saying your little BNI slogan. You work hard for your money, so make your money work hard for you.
Exactly.
So I've said that probably 7. So I've actually claimed that.
The thing with getting a plan, a strategy, as young as you are, great. If somebody's twice your age, it's okay. It's like just get started.
Start doing it. Yeah.
We used to ask our kids when they were little, and you get your kids to say cute little things. Everybody goes, "Oh." So we'd ask our kids, "What's the biggest nation in the world?" And they would say, "Imagination." And everybody'd say, you're supposed to say, "Oh,
Oh.
Yeah,
okay,
you
it's
just
cute."
laugh.
But then I started doing some thinking. Yeah, you're horrible. What's the second biggest nation in the world is procrastination.
That's right.
They don't go on that
I'm
one.
sorry.
You go, "Oh, that's right."
Can we role play this again?
Yeah, we need to. Can we cut this and go back and re-record this? But that's where a lot of people live, and that my point is they never get started on a plan.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just
But
get started.
and start it and then keep doing it, and that,
Yeah.
and that's the other thing. Keep yourself around people that are doing the same thing too.
Yeah.
I think with Primerica, you guys probably have a group of people that you guys that are always talking about
Yeah,
and-
Todd Bassler, man,
Right,
he's an advocate of the auto parlor.
right.
Oh, Mr. Bosler, he loves.
Yeah,
you,
I've
Todd.
got. Oh man, I got him a hat here waiting for him. I'm just waiting for the next time I see him.
Come on, Todd, just come buy a car from him. He gave
Yeah.
you a hat.
He's got a guy in the Jaguar Club. He sent for Mike's Jag out here. But yeah, he communicates. I love him too. He's a good guy, really is.
I learned a lot from Todd. He's helped me with a lot of clients, and he's real good at the what to say. I can't even say it. I can't even talk. But he's
He
he's a
could have
good-
helped you there.
Yeah, he kind of helped
Yeah.
me with that. But I mean, just teaching what to say and differentiators between him and other financial professionals and all that. So he's taught me a lot. He's probably on a beach somewhere right now.
Well, see,
Yeah, he's probably right at the lake waiting
what-
for you.
one of the things about the entrepreneurship you want to see if you can help them, Brecken, is when you're in that corporate environment. I mean, yeah, you're around some pretty cool people. Like I'd never discount that. I've met a lot of great people doing that. Had a lot of great training, all that, which built up to the courage for me to kind of move out and go out on our own. But when you think about who we hang out with now, right? We're at the chamber and we're all around people that want to do it, want to do small business oriented stuff. So, you've got your BNI groups that you go to, right? We have the Catholic group. So we're naturally, our time is taken up by being surrounded by people that, are good people, which is in any leadership book, they tell you to surround yourself
Yep.
with successful people. So naturally, we became what we've always really wanted to be, and you lose that aspect of it in the corporate world.
You ever heard this? It's you look at the 10 people you hang around the most, you average out their income, that's probably what you make. And it's not all about income, but I mean, money's up there with like oxygen. You kind of have to have it to do
Well,
things.
it's kind of the
and-
keeping up with the Jones, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it is in a sense, right? You're going to do as people you hang out with
Yeah.
around, a lot. Although I've been around a lot of, I guess I wouldn't hang out with them on a daily basis, or even a weekly. But I've been around some people that had a hell of a lot more money than I do. So
Maybe you should hang out with them. Maybe
I'm bringing
income will
their
go up.
average down.
The problem is they're retired. See, and you can't really hang around them when you got to work.
Right.
And that's the problem. That's a whole different income level. That's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right.
But it's
So
okay.
I understand that you're going to the lake this weekend. Is that?
Yeah, the only thing, keep my wife's down there, our 2 kids, I got friends down there. They're already down there. My car's loaded with lake stuff. So the only thing keeping me from my family in the lake is this right here going.
And that's important.
That is important.
We've got 4 more hours, and you're able to go.
Man, we could talk forever, man. I mean, we've always been able to talk well together.
You know what I'd like to do, seriously, after sitting in here talking about this, is come up with and we can sit there and post this later or whatever we do. I think once
We can do a
month,
financial workshop out here.
do a financial workshop
I
out
love
here
doing those.
and bring some people.
I used to
out
do
here.
that when we used to do that when we were at the
The other
Yeah.
dealership,
The corporate
I did it
dealer.
for them a couple
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. I think we need to do that.
and there's
Just-
some guys that really latched onto it.
yeah, yeah.
So
If nobody shows up, we'll just do it for ourselves, right?
right.
I could always learn.
So are we done? Because I'm ready to go to the lake. Ready to get out of here.
Well, this is
Oh, that's
that looks good.
That look good?
even
life
with the
is great.
headphones.
Life,
on.
life is great, man.
Life is great. You guys
That's
have a
awesome.
boat down there and everything too?
We rent them. We just rent them and tear up other people's property and then turn it back in.
That's 100%,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's great. A little pontoon boat.
yeah. Got a couple pontoons and
Yeah.
good
So
friends.
it's just you guys going down? You're meeting a bunch of people.
Oh, I mentioned Steve Doherty. His family's coming
Oh,
down.
that's right.
They're in Olathe.
Okay.
So they're coming. Some of their kids are coming, and kids.
So it's gonna be fun.
It'll be a good time. Yeah. Just go unplug.
Are you
But, know what's
doing?
great about
Are you
what I-
wearing shorts or speedos?
bathing suit?
Okay.
Not a speedo bathing suit.
2-piece.
I don't want to intimidate anybody. Yeah, 2-piece.
I'll put a Speedo on.
Yeah.
God help us all.
You know, it's great
Look at-
about what we do, Jen and I, in our business. We can do it at the lake. I've done appointments out on a pontoon.
That's with
You
our
know?
concept.
Well,
that's
we
what
won't
we're
have
gonna
the we won't have the podcasts out quick enough for you to get any referrals from this one, but
Okay.
we will arrange and probably when we get the TV up in here, be a great actually out here
Yeah, out
in
here,
this
just do it
area.
out here and get some
Have-
tables and stuff.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
sit out here and just have
Hey,
a meeting.
It's kind of cool too, because I guess we won't get Red Lobster this time, but he brings like seafood and steaks and stuff like that
He
when
goes,
we're talking to people.
What do you mean, Red Lobster?
Well, no, he
We got-
provides Red Lobster for
They're
everybody.
going
but
bankrupt, so
I know.
yeah.
They might have one or two that are open. I think Springfield might make it.
I'm guessing Red Lobster didn't invest in mutual
I
funds.
think they ran out of crabs.
I'm kind of irritated because they're like those cheesy garlic biscuits.
Oh
they
my
have.
gosh!
Oh, let me tell you a story. All right, I know you're in a hurry, but I'll tell you a story about those cheesy biscuits. Okay, it's the last time I've ever been to Red Lobster, to be honest with you. So our son Colton, he can't really tell us like when he's full or if he doesn't feel good. He doesn't know how to communicate that way. We go to Red Lobster, and we didn't realize he ate like 2 baskets full of those. Right, so I come home. We usually take 2 cars or whatever because I was working. I think I had to meet him up there. And so I come home and he decided to get sick in the hallway. All I hear is my wife scream. So I take hauling. I'm hauling, come around that corner, and sure enough, I slip and slide all the way down that deal and fall. And I'll never go to Red Lobster
pukey
again.
biscuit
Oh, dude,
slide?
it was horrible. My wife's just standing there going, "What is wrong with you?" I go, "Don't ever scream like that again." I don't want to hear it. So I came to save you, honey.
Yeah.
Except I needed to be saved. So she was getting a shower. That's disgusting.
Well,
Jeez.
Casey, I know you want to get to the lake. Do you got any final closing moments that you want to say, or any words of encouragement to the people out there watching? I mean,
Well,
there's millions of people out there now.
Millions. Yeah, I
We
do,
have
need, I do
proof.
need to get on the road. You know what you say to a one-legged hitchhiker?
What's that?
Hop in. Let's go to IHOP. I could keep going, but
My gosh.
I'll work on my material.
All right.
Yeah. Closing thoughts. I already kind of talked about it. Just start. Procrastination.
Yeah.
It kills us. We've all done it. We've all been guilty of it.
So you see people here, it's the first podcast, right?
Yep.
Just think about, I know you guys do Zoom meetings and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be cool for a group of guys that you're connected with
Yep.
to get together and figure out how to do podcasts.
Oh, I'd love it.
I think people would love
Yeah.
to learn that. We have fun with it.
We can
but
sponsor
there's
you.
There's learning moments in it too for people.
Well, you brought up Todd Bosler. He did one a few months ago with one of his friends that just was amazing, and he had the most hits, likes, watches,
Yeah.
whatever, just with what he talked about, and I think it would be very
Well, this one probably is going to be a
Very
good one too. I mean, because people are going to get interested about what we're talking about.
yeah.
It's better to have a guest on
Yeah.
here. I mean, personally for us, because we get to talking about things that we talk about all the time.
His material gets kind of dry, but it's. I try to keep the comedy going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the funny fat guy.
I think something that I could leave people with is there's once again, not slinging mud, saying about other firms, but I think I'll meet with, Brecken wants to start investing $50 a month. Great, let's meet. Does
Right.
that make me a lot of money? People go, no. Yeah, it does. Because I do the right thing for him. He's going to refer me to people, and as he makes more, he's going to do more. So whether somebody has $50 or they have 50 million,
Right.
prefer to meet with the 50 million.
Yeah.
But I'll meet with anybody. There's our firms that don't walk in their door unless you got to have
So,
$1 million.
so you're saying you
Yeah.
would cancel an appointment that you had if,
with Brecken.
with the
Yeah.
$50 guy if the $50 million guy called you?
Yeah, 100%.
I don't
You
blame
wouldn't
you.
even know it.
Yeah. I had something come up.
Yeah.
He's nervous about investing $50 a month anyway.
Well, but in all seriousness, $50 for him is a lot of money.
Right,
Because
right.
you remember when we were that age, spending money, that's a lot of money. So
No, we didn't have any
It,
to spend at my house.
yeah, but this is, I think this will be a good thing. And I like how we'll get off this, but I like how you'd rather, you want to help these kids young because in the long run, the long run's going to help you out in the long, anyway, right? So let's help them when we can.
Fantastic.
Thank you for coming
All
out,
right,
Casey.
Yeah, thanks for keeping me from the lake and my family.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
that
wanted
was
to
his
make sure
idea.
it's
I
real
wanted to
long
do
one.
this yesterday when you were at home, but he says, no, we got to keep Casey from going to the lake. I said, okay, I agree with you.